until the reality hits, you can sign up for anything. You know, and, you can be large and in charge, and you imagine people standing up and clapping. But really, when it comes down to what needs to be said tonight, I think what we have to do is really come to the realization what made Suicide Charlie special. So for the next 2 or 3 minutes, and like I said, I'll try to keep it short, I'm just going to submit a couple things that you consider that you know but has to be said. First off, there's a relationship that only Suicide Charlie Marines know. Suicide Charlie sailors, the docs that took care of us as we banged ourselves up, as we went over walls, as we went through doors. There's a relationship there that we have to admit and we have to embrace. There's a commitment not only to ourselves, not only to our loved ones, but there's a commitment that spans that time and distance to each other, and that's why we're here. And then I'll wrap up here in a couple minutes just talking about the selflessness that makes a Marine what makes you heroes and makes the people that love you, and when you get up in the morning they're there and they're sending you off to work, which really makes a difference. First off, I want to talk about that relationship. You know, there's an enduring relationship. You didn't show up because, well, it was just another company you were with. You didn't show up because, well, you were out at 29 Palms and you slung lead. You didn't just show up because you went to Desert Shield, Desert Storm, or you went to Somalia. You showed up because there was an enduring relationship that you were not willing to allow to pass away. And that is more than really, I think sometimes we grasp. It's more than just a common experience, and it's more than just a rite of passage. It's a relationship that was really forged in some pretty harsh, confusing, and sometimes just maddening conditions. And from that enduring relationship, you have to realize that there's an affection. And I know that there's all this, you know, with all the firing back and forth about the man love and the rough man love and everything. but there's an affection among you Marines and sailors that have served in Suicide Charlie. And there's got to be an affection. You can't sit on a shitter next to a guy and not really have a little bit of like, okay, I'm willing to endure what you're putting out. I'd just like to talk just quickly also about commitment. You know, I'd come from the basic school. I went to AWS. They told me I was going to go out to McCaxey, and my wife tried all the way out there, and you know, shit got real quick when I got out there. You guys came back from Okinawa, yeah, thank you. Getting old age, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, somebody finish the sentence for me. But it did, and all of a sudden, the last part of November, the world was getting turned upside down. We were told that there was this humanitarian effort that was going on the Horn of Africa, Somalia, which I had no clue where it was, and it's like, okay, we need to respond to this. And I was a little intimidated because I was going to take a rifle company into this thing that had been in combat, and I'd only trained Marines who had been in combat. So the first thing when it got real that was comforting was you brought me on board real quick, and you let me know that you were a rifle company, you were a Marine rifle company, you were Suicide Charlie, but you let me know that I was a CO, okay? And I was more than glad to let you know that you were Marines, you were NCOs, you were corpsmen, and we also brought on a lot of new lieutenants. You know, Samples hadn't been to Desert Shield, Desert Storm, Schwartz hadn't been to, and of course Brendan Cook. So this commitment, when the shit got real, you all bore down and made sure that the leadership was embraced. You may not have understood how you were doing it, but when I walked around, there was a lot of emotion going on, and yet there was that feeling that, okay, if you tell us to do it, we're going to do it. We got over there, and there was a lot going on, but you never stopped taking care of each other. And I saw that at 02 in the morning, 04 when I'm walking out to the sentry post with Jack or one of the other lieutenants or First Sergeant Riddick. And taking care of each other was important, and you were going to get the mission done. And somehow, you always made that happen. And you did it with a sense of humor. You know, sometimes I didn't quite appreciate your sense of humor, like when I was told that you'd confiscated weapons, and then they wanted the weapons back. You were tired of giving the weapons back, so you took Amtrak's and drove them over the barrels so their barrels were bent, which Colonel Getz told me that was not the preferred method of handling weapons. Or there was the going out there and spending time with you, listening to what you want to do when you get back, or just sitting there and listening to you play Jeopardy on the net. So there's a commitment there that you have, but you know, it needs to be said. It needs to be said because it was alive and it was strong and it grew stronger the longer we were there, especially when it was like, okay, we're going to be here 30 days and we're out of here. And then January passed, we got into February, Task Force Mogadishu went out to Bardera, and 7th Marines came in, and all of a sudden, instead of saying, hey, you guys have worked hard, we're going to give you a break, they just strapped us on wet and tired, and then they just went full speed. And the thing was, they were just trying to stay up with you.